Did it ever happen to you, like, where like you played a new game and really like nobody cared and people didn't show up and you were just like sitting there with a fraction of your typical viewership?
I mean, yeah, there's been some duds along the years.
Like what?
Ugh.
He has over 160,000 followers online. He's a variety streamer, indie gaming YouTuber, OG, veteran creator since 2014. Nookrium, aka Nook, aka Michael. Welcome to Streamforge Radio.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have you. What do you prefer I call you? Michael, Nook? Which is it?
You can call me whatever you want, as long as it's nice. Most folks call me Nook, but
Nook. Great.
Yeah, that's fine.
I said veteran, OG, and then I don't know if you're not watching, you had some kind of like expression in your face when I said this. Do you not consider yourself
as? Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Yeah.
I just passed 8 years, but I think of other folks when I think of the veterans of indie game YouTubers.
Well, what is your definition of being a veteran then?
Well, you know, I came into this watching other folks that have been doing it for a long time, and folks like Splattercat or Avic or Quill 18, and so I think of them as the veterans.
I think someone who's been doing it for over 8 years deserve to be called a veteran, even an OG.
We'll let it slide this time.
Right. I mean, 8 years in this business is quite a long time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Time flies, but you know, still, it's a lot of experience you've gained over the years, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How have you been able to, or what kept you going over these years, right?
Kept me going. I suppose it's going to be just like the comments and the interaction part of it. Probably the most enjoyable part for me. I've been pretty strict with myself to not like fall into the play what does well, you know, as far as like views and that kind of stuff, and just play what I want to play, what's fun. When I started, it was in like the days of the big Minecraft purge, I guess. You know, all the big Minecraft YouTubers were losing viewers, and that kind of sort of everything was kind of falling apart for them. And I didn't want to become one of those like, I only play this game, and I'm going to be stuck playing this game for the rest of my life. You know, that kind of a thing.
Right.
So, important point of what I do is I just play what I enjoy doing. If I don't want to do it anymore, I move to something else, which is easy because I do that a different game every day. So, is that a like conscious, like a strategy of yours, or is that just the way you are? A little bit of both, but yeah, because of the whole, I went to a thing with other YouTube folks in the early days when I first started, and there was a few of them there that had a game, and they were basically forced to play that game because they'd been playing the same thing, and that's what got their audience. And so then they got to the point where they were able to live off of YouTube, and so their whole life basically depended on them playing that one game. And it was as they described it, was sort of a mind-numbing experience. Like they had to play that game, or else they would lose their views, because if they tried something else, you didn't have an audience for that. Yeah. So a big part of I wanted to make sure that I didn't get stuck in that loop, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know if you're like me as well. Like I get tired of games very fast.
Yeah. And that's me too.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know what it is. Right? It's like I'm gonna go real deep into one. Like right now, I'm playing F1 Manager 22. I love simulation games, like management games. I'm really digging the game, you know. But I know, and you know, I'm not gonna play this forever. In a couple of weeks, I'll be done with like my 5-season career in there, and I'll be moving on to something else. And it's just when when I used to do content creation, that's what happened. I would go really deep into something. You mentioned Minecraft, playing Minecraft and getting like really, deep into that game and building my different buildings and all that. And then one day I'm like, I don't feel like playing this anymore. It must affect your ability to grow in a way, because you're changing games all the time. How do you feel it's affecting your growth on YouTube and Twitch?
I think it's because, that's the way that I have done it for so long, is new game every day. And so I think that's the audience that I have got over those years, is expecting something new every day and becoming more of a discovery channel rather than a stick around in one spot channel.
You've created a brand around it, basically, right?
Yeah.
And where the whole like I'm playing a new game every day type of branding came into play. It's like it's the way you are. You like to discover new things. You like to change the games you play. So might as well double down on it, on that aspect of your personality, if you will, and just make it your brand. That's great. So would you say that if we reverse the question, did it help grow your brand?
I think my brand grew around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get questions occasionally, about becoming a YouTuber and that kind of stuff. And I think that's the important one, is just like, do what you enjoy doing, because when you eventually start getting an audience, you're getting an audience of what you do, what you like doing. So if you like changing games and playing something different all the time and not getting stuck on one thing, then you're going to have an audience that likes that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to lose anything if you get stuck on one game,
Yep. What are you playing recently?
What am I not playing?
Right.
I play a lot of city builders. There's a lot of those coming out, colony builders, those kind of things. And that's kind of what that's my favorite kind of games, is like the simulation and strategy kind of things. And so I played a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to streaming Monkey Island.
Yeah. Reviews are out.
Yeah.
It looks really good so far.
Yeah, but like Farthest Frontier I played recently. That was good, really good colony builder. There was a playtest of Aquatico that just came out recently. Another city builder, that was good stuff. So yeah, those kind of like Banished style or Rimworld style of games. Those are kind of like what I like most. Dwarf Fortress.
Now you opened the door. That I don't know if you're gonna like my next question, but what are your thoughts on the last SimCity? Came out a few years ago.
SimCity. I never played it.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you not like a city builder fan or gamer back then?
I guess there's a distinction for me anyway, that I really like colony builders, where it's sort of like I distinct them in different ways. So there's colony builders where you've got up to like maybe 100 folks in your town, small colony,
right?
And then the city builders, which is be like thousands or whatever. And I've never really been a huge fan of like SimCity. I mean, when I was a kid, I was the old ones, but like SimCity and City Skylines and that kind of stuff never really.
Okay.
That was never really my thing, but the smaller scale I've always leaned towards.
That's interesting. I've never heard anyone making that distinction, actually. I'm sure you're not the first one in the world to do it, but it's fairly new to me to make those distinctions. And I guess to me, like, are they both called city builders? Like the genre, is that exactly the same thing?
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Steam, the tags are city builder.
Yeah.
It is. But I guess because I play so many of them, I try to look for the distinctions between the various ones. Is it going to be like a Banished style, or are you going to have sort of a smaller village, or Rimworld where you have like 10 colonists, or City Skylines where you have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And it certainly plays different if you're playing, depending on your scale, whether you're more interested in the individual colonist or in the grand scheme of things.
So what is the number one thing that makes you like not only prefer the smaller scale, like population type of city builders, but not even care, from what I'm hearing from you, not even care about the bigger scale one like City Skylines or SimCity?
I guess it's kind of the focus on the like this of the individual citizen. I like games that kind of focus, like makes that the focus rather than the overall.
The macro. You prefer micro versus macro.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
So you're focused on the needs of the one colonist, rather than just the whole town. It does probably, it probably doesn't change much as far as gameplay, but in my mind, it changes things.
Yeah, maybe that's one way to differentiate the two sub-genre. Maybe we might want to call it like macro city builders and micro city builders in a way.
Yeah.
Favorite micro city builder ever?
Well, Dwarf Fortress, if that counts. Looking for that style, yeah. Dwarf Fortress for sure. Dwarf Fortress, and Rimworld.
Yeah, I haven't played Rimworld yet. Convince me, please.
I
need that push.
Anything that you think can happen, doesn't happen. You may have these plans of like, I'm going to make this nice colony on this alien world, and it doesn't work that way. And I really like the openness of that. One type of game that I don't like so much is the one that has a way to play the game. Like there's a set way of this is how you play the game, and if you want to win, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And the
linear
ones that have
type.
Yeah. The ones that have that open feeling are the ones I lean towards. And Rimworld does that well. Dwarf Fortress does that well. Dwarf Fortress, there's no way of winning it. You're gonna lose. It's just how we lose.
You're gonna lose. Okay. I'm not familiar with Dwarf Fortress. What is it about?
Rimworld is inspired by it, but I've always described it as you take take a group of dwarves and you go build Moria, Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
So that's the idea. You go in and you settle and you build in a mountain or whatever, but terrible things happen, and you have to try to overcome those.
Interesting. Okay, mysterious. I like it.
It's not an easy game to describe.
So, from my notes here, you're a D&D fan.
I am a D&D nerd. Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I've never actually played D&D. And for whatever reason, when I was younger, my friends didn't play D&D, or I wasn't, just not popular with the group of friends around me, I guess. But now, as I get older, I'm more and more interested in D&D somehow, Do you still play in person with friends? Like, how do you continue, and how have you continued throughout the pandemic as well to play D&D?
I'm in 3 groups right now. One of them is well, they all switched to online when the pandemic hit. One of them started online because one of our friends lives out of state. So that's how he wanted to play, so he set up an online thing. The other 2 groups, one of them we moved online when the pandemic hit, and we've left it there online. But the other one we've gone back in person. And that's the one I've been doing for almost 20 years now.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Is it like the same game for 20 years?
No, definitely not. It's we've had people have come and gone, and it's really the in-person one is more of just like friends getting together, basically.
Yeah.
Having an excuse to get together and play a game.
Yeah, I feel like the in-person, if I had to pick, I would go in person for sure.
Yeah, just in person.
Yeah.
It's hard to top.
Well, just you get out of the house, like as we're getting older, I'll talk for me, I have less and less time to go out with friends, right? So it's like, that's just one, how do you say, like 2 birds, 1 stone or something, whatever,
Right.
Like it's like, so it's, grab a couple of beers, order pizza or something. I don't know, just, some fun.
Yeah.
Is it even possible for someone like me at my age to like get started with D&D, or am I like,
of course.
Yeah,
definitely.
How would I go about that?
Well, I know there's ways of like doing it online and finding groups online.
Right.
I have never done that. I've been lucky to have friends that are into it. Took me into it. I know game stores always have games and they're looking for players, so that's probably the easiest way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I have one around here that I think like every weekend they're asking for players for D&D.
Yep. Amazing. Have you ever streamed a D&D game?
Yeah, so the one we do on it was Friday nights. We did it here on my kitchen table. And when the pandemic hit, we switched it online, and we figured we're going online. We might as well stream it, just in case someone wants to watch it. And so we do that one still online.
No, that's cool. Is that like with other streamers, or is it more like
no, it's just me and my friends.
Okay, so like you stream on your channel, and like your friends, which are not content creators, they're just joining, and that's pretty cool. So now, the games you play, I'm curious how you come up with new games all the time. Because, I mean, there's tremendous amount of games out there, There's older games as well, which is, another set of thousands and thousands of games available to us. But even new games, there's new games coming out all the time. How do you pick these new games? Like, how do you go about, like, all right, here's a week ahead, I got to play 5 games or whatever, How do you decide which game you play and structure your channel that way?
I'll start this off with saying that I'm a very unorganized person. And so I don't plan anything. So in the perfect world, I would sit back on like a Sunday and just like plan out, okay, Monday I'll play this one, Tuesday I'll play this one. I don't do that. I spend the day, or not all day, but in my free time during the day, I'll look and see what's coming out. I'll find something and then I'll play it that night. I don't really plan too much. If there's a big release coming, then I'll set that aside for play that game that day. But for the most part, I scroll through Steam or itch.io or my Discord. A lot of folks will share some stuff in there that they find, and Twitter. I follow a lot of game devs on Twitter, and those are my 4 spots. And then I've got and I scroll through YouTube sometimes. I got some channels that I watch that do similar things that I do, see if they find something that I missed. And that's pretty much it. There's not much strategy to it. I just kind of like one day I may find something that I don't want to play that today, but then the next day I'll go back to it and play it just because what I feel like playing. Kept it.
And do you see your audience like fluctuate quite a bit, like every day, depending on the game you pick, or is it like fairly stable now that you've done it for like 8 years? And as you said earlier, your audience is pretty much expects you to play a new game every day.
Audience is in like viewer numbers.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, it's pretty consistent. I'll have some games that I know will do well.
Like what?
Like the ones I like the colony builders. If there's a new colony builder coming out, I know that'll do well. That'll do a little better than other things, but it's usually pretty consistent.
That's interesting. Why is it just because of your passion for like micro city builders that just transpires and like that your audience gets from you? Like, why would they show up more for a game like this, in your opinion?
A lot of I did a I did a tutorial a long time ago on Dwarf Fortress, which is kind of a complicated game to get into. And that was one of the first videos that I did that did really well. I've never had a video that like exploded, like overnight I got like 10,000. I never had any of that kind of video, but that one did really well and did get a lot of attention, especially into my Dwarf Fortress videos that I'd made a lot of in the past. So I have a lot of a good percentage of the audience came from Dwarf Fortress, and so if you like Dwarf Fortress, then you like colony builder kind of games. So that's I think why those do a little better.
So you're saying that brought people to your community,
right?
And being colony builders or fans, then stuck around and they're still part of the community today and just part of your community's DNA, if you will.
Right.
Okay.
And because it's kind of like a variety thing that, I don't have any expectation that someone's going to watch every video on my channel. It's more of I find something different every day and maybe some things you'll like, some things you won't like. Just trying to show off what's out there, find the niche, the more unknown things out there.
Did it ever happen to you like where like you played a new game and it really like nobody cared and people didn't show up and you were just like sitting there with a fraction of your typical viewership?
I mean, yeah, there's been some duds along the years.
Like what?
I don't know. Anything that requires me to have fast fingers, because I don't. Any sort of Souls-like kind of games,
okay,
or Metroidvania kind of things. It may have to do with me both not being good at those games and not really liking those games very much. I'm just not a fan of. I'm just too old for that kind of stuff anymore. Fingers don't work like they used to.
Yeah, like a slower pace, kind of like take your time.
Yeah, that's my style.
Almost turn-based type of deal as well, like I'm guessing, but like city builders, like that's the fun thing is you can pause the game and just be like, what are we doing, guys? Like
it's not about having fast fingers, it's about having fun.
Yeah, no, exactly. And being creative, and there's a lot of like aspects that I can see where you're coming from with this, because like I said, like I personally love city builders as well. I don't know if I actually said that, but it's one of my favorite genres. I do like the macro type of games though. I like them both really, but it's definitely another just another genre altogether, another type of like interaction as well with your audience, because I'm guessing, as you said, like your audience getting used to the fact that you change games a lot of the times, they get used to the pace at which you interact with them as well. So if you go from like interacting, playing colony builders to playing something very fast paced, you might not have the time to interact with them as much as you typically do. So that might affect as well retention, if you will, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. People are like, Nook is ignoring us today, guys. What's happening? Yeah. It's like, I'm just trying to survive in Elden Ring or something. I don't know. Have you played Elden Ring at all?
I haven't.
No?
No. I have kind of another add to the list of my standard operating procedure for the channel. I try to stay away from the popular stuff. If I see a lot of folks playing something, I try to move on. That's covered enough. That's not my place. I'm the niche, the unknown things, lesser known things.
Do you play like in development type of games? Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Like, and so do you reach out to developers or do they reach out to you? And how does that? Because you mentioned Twitter earlier. Like, how does that work?
A little bit of both. It's over the years, it's gotten much easier because I would send out emails all the time, like, "Hey, can I get a look at this?" But now I'm on a lot of lists now, so I typically get emails, I get Twitter comments and stuff like that will offer them to me.
And they just reach out to you and be like, "We're developing a game," and try it out on stream.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fun because like you get to. I mean, I'm guessing a lot of the times it's at least semi-exclusive in a way. It's like it's not necessarily a game that's in like it's available for all on Steam or whatnot. So you get to really interact with the game in development. Are they looking for like feedback from you at all at the end of this, or?
It's number 3 to my list of my SOP. I try not to give my opinions on things. I just play the game. It's not my place to tell you what's good and what's not. You can figure that out by watching the video.
Right, but like I'm not saying necessarily like on stream or on the video on YouTube or whatnot. But like do they ask for like, oh, did you like it afterwards? And do you not give your opinion at all, like even offline or
Nah,
off stream?
I typically don't. I do. Also, I don't. If I don't like a game, I won't put it on my YouTube channel.
Right.
It's also something I only put stuff that I like. So that's my rating system, I guess.
Yeah, you don't. Again, I'm guessing you don't want to.
I don't want to promote something that I don't think that I don't enjoy.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's also the fact that if you start giving bad reviews, maybe people would be scared that you would give them a bad review if they give you a key for the game or let you try the game at an early stage.
I don't care so much about that, but
okay.
I try to keep it a positive place. And I've seen plenty, I guess I got this from watching other folks that, like, I'll find something that I like, and I'll watch someone playing it, and they're, like, bad-mouthing things. I'm like, that kind of turns you off, whenever you see that.
Yeah. I agree, especially if it's like in development. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, they're still working
for sure.
on
And
it.
yeah, a
It's
lot
like,
of the stuff I play is
fair,
early access, or even before early access, they give me
yeah.
like an alpha key, and so it's, you can't
Yeah,
criticize
alpha's
someone
tough,
for.
man. Like, I mean, yeah, because like they're trying to tell you like, listen, it's alpha. We're still working on this, and that. I mean, it's like not necessarily everyone can truly understand. I mean, you have the experience now from having played so many of these games, right? But like, still, not everybody has the capabilities of like understanding the difference between alpha build and like early access or even fully released. So
Right.
there's a lot of work that happens in that stage of production. So that's great. And like, and you have that passion for indie titles. You kind of want to go against the grain, if I can say it like this. If you know, wanting to play games that not necessarily the most played or popular games. What got you to be passionate, I guess, about these smaller indie games?
So I started the channel playing old stuff, like XCOM and Master of Orion, the old timey things, because all I had was an old computer. Someone gave me a key to an indie game, and in my attempts to promote myself in the early days, I would go to Reddit, and I discovered that some of the smaller games, which I played that one, I played a couple other indie games, and I discovered while going through the subreddits of those indie games, there's a very welcoming community of like, sure, show your stuff, talk about the game, and kind of back and forth, with the devs sometimes, and the smaller communities of those indie games. And then you go to the bigger named games, and you get like not the friendliest of communities.
Sure.
And I guess that was my first intro to how welcoming and a indie game community can be, and that's kind of what warmed me to the idea of indie games and sticking with them. That makes sense.
Yeah, going back to also your previous comment about like wanting to have a positive impact, or being positive.
Yeah.
So
And it gives my channel a kind of a purpose. I've sort of discovered through the years of being so to find these unknown stuff that no one's showing off, and there's not any sort of, no one's talking about it, and try to find them and show them off.
Right.
Do what I can, but what my channel can do.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I mean, if there's so many indie developers out there that are looking for a publisher, that are trying to self-publish as well. So having someone like you to help promote these games, being passionate about doing it as well, of course, as we can sense it. It's obvious. It's just tremendous. And also, you produce family-friendly content, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Where is that coming from? Is that part of the whole positive type of vibe and all this?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Whenever my kids were younger, we'd watch YouTube. That's our TV. We don't have a TV. We watch YouTube. And a lot of channels I couldn't watch when the kids were in the room, but I could watch Paul Soares Jr., who has always been family friendly. Most of it was like Minecraft kind of stuff, but I always enjoyed watching him, and I liked the positive attitude of him. This is back early YouTube days.
Yep.
I just liked the vibe that his videos had, and his positivity and his family friendliness, being able to sit and have it on the TV with kids around or whatever. And I wanted to emulate that, basically, where that all came from.
Amazing. And have you ever struggled creating family friendly content over the years?
No, I'm a pretty family friendly person, I guess, in real life, so it's not
naturally. Yeah,
it's not too difficult.
That's great. and so you decided to do this from the get-go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So you've built that community as well as you evolved, as you've yeah. No, that's great. That's great stuff. And I mean, it's how do you see like the family friendly content on YouTube versus Twitch? Because from my perspective, YouTube is a more family friendly platform overall versus Twitch. Would you agree with that?
Not in my community.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow, my Twitch community is great. very, very rarely does a mod need to step in for anything. And when it is, it's typically just like a spam bot or something.
Right.
Hydrate
bot or something.
Yeah. I haven't had an instance of that in, man, it's been several months since anything on Twitch. So if anything, my Twitch community might be even more family friendly than what I have on YouTube. But they're both great. I'm very lucky to have a community that is kind. Not what I see elsewhere.
Yeah, no, well, that was my point, right? It's more like it's not about your communities on Twitch versus YouTube, but more like communities in general on these two platforms. Because I mean, YouTube has YouTube Kids, for kids, like specifically,
right.
So like Twitch doesn't have something like this. So on like macro level, it's but great segue to the next topic I want to talk about is your communities on those two platforms. Actually, I want to is there any crossover between your people, like your community on YouTube and your community on Twitch? Do they both go from one to the next, like our platform, or how does that work?
So. I think most of them are on both. I did I think it's been almost a year now that I switched over to Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch for live streams.
Yeah.
Twitch only, because I would do restream and I would do both at the same time. And I switched over, I think it's like 11 months ago. So it was Halloween last year. I switched over.
Oh.
And I see the names, and I see the names in YouTube comments. So I recognize most of the names, at least the chatty ones I recognize. Twitch has certainly grown since I did the switch, but I think there's a lot of crossover for both sides. It certainly feels different, even though it seems like the same kind of community, but it does feel a little different being on Twitch than on YouTube when I was live streaming. Twitch seems a little more interactive, I guess.
Of course.
Which I like. That's one of the big reasons I did the switch and jumped over there.
How do you manage these two communities? Or like what do you do with your content? Because like you need to create content for both platforms, right? So you got Twitch. Obviously, Twitch is probably, I mean, not to answer my own question to you, but like Twitch, you push a button, you're live, right? So of course there's like, there's preparation, all that, but like it's you don't have to edit a video, you don't have to really come up with a concept. So how do you generate content for those two platforms? Do you take your content from Twitch and bring it to YouTube, or do you create YouTube content like separate from your Twitch content?
For the longest time I would do YouTube videos, record videos. I'd come in here at night, record a video, and throw it up. And then I did like 2 live streams a week, and I would just move those over to the YouTube channel. And recently, a big part is if I like doing it, I do it. I just do what is most fun for me. It's worked for 8 years, so I stick with it. And I really enjoy live streaming, and I've been enjoying it, especially since I made the move over because of the interactivity, and you see the familiar names, chatting with you every night. And so I've recently moved over to just, instead of just sitting here in the dark recording a YouTube video, I just do it on Twitch, and then I move that video over.
Okay.
So 95% of my videos on YouTube now are live streams that I'll trim out and then throw them over on YouTube. I'll trim out the breaks and the nonsense chat and then put them on YouTube. And
do you ignore your audience as or more? You ignore, like you tell them, "All right, guys, I'm about to do a YouTube video." Like 3, 2, 1. Not even. Okay.
No.
So you interact with your chat as you record those videos.
Yeah.
And you may edit out. Is that more work though?
I never really did much editing in the past, and so I still don't really do much editing. I trim out the beginning and the end, and if there's a break in there, or if there's some point where I'm messing with options, I'll trim some of that bits out. But it's not much. I don't put a whole lot of work into editing things. I never liked the fast edit or the I never like watching those kind of videos. I like the continuous play of. That's what I watch, and so that's what I post.
Yeah, and I think you also want to produce something that is realistic for you to produce, because the last thing you want is to have a plan and like not be able to deliver on that plan, and then being discouraged at, you know, for example, like if you tell yourself like, I'm going to start editing tomorrow, like my videos a lot more, and spend, you know, 5-6 hours a week more on this, and like you probably don't have those 5-6 hours to do it yourself, right? So I think having a formula that fits your personality and your style, I think it's wise as well.
Yep. I never really enjoyed. I did editing at the beginning because that's what, you know, that's what you're told. You gotta, if you're gonna make a YouTube channel, you gotta go and edit videos and make it snappy and make it where you keep your audience around. Cut out the boring bits. But I hate editing, so I didn't ever like doing it. So I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah. And so I stopped, and the channel still grew. Well, it works. I'm gonna let it be.
Sure, absolutely. What are your thoughts on TikTok?
I'm too old for that.
Oh, are you?
I don't know. I've never.
You never been?
Nope.
Yeah, it's a great platform for content creators. I think that there's a lot of potential to recycle content as well, right? Because like if you're on Twitch or on YouTube, obviously the ideal scenario is that you would create content on top of it, you know, on top of whatever is on Twitch and YouTube, and just record yourself like cooking dinner or whatever, just to get people like into your life and to other spheres of your, you know, life, to get to know you in another environment, if you will, right? I think that's the perfect scenario for a content creator, say on Twitch or on YouTube. That being said, recycling content there can have tremendous impact on the visibility of that content for you, because I
have thought of, like with YouTube Shorts, you know.
Yeah.
Like to throw in some of them over there, just to. I've thought about I've had the idea, but I haven't ever messed with it. I haven't learned TikTok. I don't know anything about it really, other than just what you hear. So. Yeah,
I mean, there are.
To explore.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give a couple of tips to you and to our audience, and it's not, I'm obviously not sponsored or anything like this, but there's really easy ways. We've used Streamladder in the past. Really simple. You put in your clip URL. You can literally take clips from your community, so you don't even need to edit anything. You take that clip URL. You go to there. You put in your clip ID. Clip URL, and it basically creates a TikTok/YouTube Shorts for you, automatically. You can trim it if you want, and then you can just post it from there. And it's just, it's such a simple, and that's the number one thing I hear people say when we talk about TikTok, is like, oh, I don't know, it seems complicated, or I've never really touched, or interacted with the platform, whatnot. Like, it's much simpler than people think. And I've recently started doing TikToks of my own, just because I wanted to understand the platform better. And like, telling you, believe it or not, I have probably, I don't even have 500 followers, okay? And I have multiple, I think I got 2 videos that got over 100,000 views. And I got a few videos that got like 20, 30, 40,000 views. I don't even have 500 followers. Like, that's exactly why I wanted to try this platform, is to see the possibilities, right? And the power it has. And it's just tremendous. And of course, it's a gamble. You don't know which videos are going to do well or not. I mean, actually, now that I've been doing it for a little bit, I'm starting to understand what people like, and especially from me, right? But simplifying the process of generating content on other platforms, which you can recycle on both YouTube Shorts and TikTok and all that, it's just, to me, for content creators, a tremendous opportunity nowadays. Because with a couple of clicks, you can get your content on another platform, and these guys can come over to YouTube, to Twitch, whatever they prefer, ultimately getting similar, if not the same type of content, but they can watch as a VOD or watch live. And trust me, our parents are going to be on TikTok at some point. So if you think you're too old for it, it's only a matter of time. So food for thought, all right, for you and for everybody at home. But I'm a big fan of TikTok for discoverability for content creators.
I will have to look into it. Take your advice.
Yeah, thank you for
like gaming videos. Is there a lot of that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, plenty.
I'm sorry, I have not messed with it at all, so I'm way out of the loop.
No, but that's why I'm here.
Perfect.
Bringing you back in the loop. So you have a game that you've built, that you're building, called Mappa Imperium.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done. Okay. So just for me and for our audience, what is your role in creating this game?
My role is well, it's all mine.
You've built everything.
Everything, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Just for fun, really. I've always when I was a kid, like middle school, high school, I always made dumb little board games. That's what instead of sitting and paying attention in science class, I was working on a board game that I was making for myself. I never made anything. I never made anything like for sale or anything. But I made some stuff when I was a kid, and I found I at some points along the way I discovered the sort of print and play idea that you just download a PDF of something and then you sort of play it. Like that's the game. And I'd never heard of that before until a year or so ago. And I found one. I forget the name now. But basically, it was sort of a fantasy town maker that you're making. And I was playing it with my kids, and I was like, "This is pretty neat. Like they just made this thing up and threw it up on itch.io. This is cool. I want to try this." So I just sort of whipped one up and through many hours of whipping it up, but I ended up posting it on itch.io, and I played it on a video. I did a stream of it, playing it, and it was one of those videos that that YouTube liked and started sharing on other folks' home screens. So it did really well, and it doing well, and then the game was being downloaded a lot. And so it encouraged me to stick with it. And so I fully developed the thing. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing. What is your background like to be able to build a game like this?
A YouTube content creator. I don't have any background with that.
Really? So you just learned from
many years of playing D&D, basically. Making fantasy maps. Yeah. Yeah,
amazing. And you're the only person that has touched the development or, developed the game.
Right. Yeah. All mine.
So do you plan on, did that give you like, push to do more games, like to develop more games moving forward? Like,
certainly opened the door. I'm like, it's not a, not a, what am I trying to say? It's not like a permanent kind of thing, but for if when I get bored and when it's fun time, then I'll mess around with making something else. But I haven't yet. I'm still thinking of things.
And have you streamed the process of building a game?
Not building the game. I streamed a few times, like the development stages throughout, how it has changed throughout it was about a year from start to finish. Of adding and taking away things and yeah, I got like 3 or 4 streams of it.
That's incredible. I would watch the development of a game like this or something like this with you. And get some, I'm sure you got a lot of like feedback from your community as well to help development, or at least the ideas of the game.
A lot of the ideas came from, I did a stream before that where I found this map making program, Wonder Draft, and it's just a fancy map maker, just for like D&D nerds and stuff. So that's that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I was showing that off on a stream just to show off that program, and I thought, well, we'll add some fun in here, and we'll do a dice roll and add in some things to kind of evolve the world. And that's kind of where the idea initially came from.
Incredible. So we have a segment called Explain This Post, and we look at a couple of posts from you on Twitter.
Okay.
And we'd love to get your insight. And
okay.
Yeah. So the first one is from October 18th, 2020. So a couple of years back. And you said, "It's amazing that I'm able to call this thing my job. Thank you for sticking with me for the past 6 years." And what we see here is that you've reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, correct? What does it mean to you to get 100,000? Now, let me just repeat: 100,000 people to subscribe to you at that moment on YouTube?
When I started this, it was just a little hobby, just a dumb little thing I was just kind of playing around with, and I was heavily inspired by Quill18. That's who I first watched, and the first like YouTuber streamer that was like a normal, calm person and not like over the top. That kind of, you know what I mean.
Normal guy.
And I thought, hey, that looks like fun. I'd like to try that. So that's how I started it. That's how it began. And he at the time had 100,000, and I thought, as this thing started to kind of take off, I thought, I never thought I would ever get anywhere near 100,000. I thought maybe I'd cap out at like 10,000, 10,000 would be like a dream if I got that many subscribers. And the thought of 100,000 like was just like, nah, it's not going to happen. There's no way that would happen. And I remember a specific conversation with my wife about how she's like, if you got this many, you could like do this for the rest of your life. This could be your living. And I was like, yeah, forget about it. There's no way 100,000 people are going to subscribe to me playing these dumb little games. And at the time I was playing old Master Variant too, old timey stuff. Right. And so when I hit that number, that's the reason 100,000 was such a like distinct number for me, because of that conversation basically about how don't even think about it. It's not even worth thinking that would be a thing.
No, it's incredible. It's a huge number. It's a tremendous amount of effort that goes into building something like this as well. You're mentioning the 6 years in the making, and the process of building a community over these years, when I'm sure, as you said, I mean, you started as a hobby. There was something that you would do like after work and all this stuff. Like, you just took a tremendous amount of hours creating content with like not a lot of viewers or views, and like, and this, like, just doing it out of passion. So I know it's been a couple of years, but congrats. It's a tremendous number, and it's I can tell it's a special one for you.
Yeah, for sure.
What is your next milestone?
So that's been the big question. I didn't really have one. I didn't know what to do. Like, where do you go from there? Again, 1 million's not going to happen. So don't worry about that one.
And then we'll talk in a couple of years. And
and that was one of the big driving forces for moving over to Twitch to do streams, is because I was kind of stagnant, like I'm still having a lot of fun, still great, but I realized the necessity of having a sort of a goal when doing this, and having that growth. And YouTube is doing well, but it wasn't like, and it's not like crazy high. It's just kind of a steady slope, very steady upslope for the past several years. And so I moved over to Twitch to kind of give me something else to kind of like try to build and try to put my efforts into creating a community over there, just to add to what's happened on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So 1 million.
There you go. Start with 150. That'll be the goal.
We have another tweet here from August 22nd, so fairly recent. And you go, why did 4 run out of the horror movie? Because it was too square. So you seem to like dad jokes. Can you give me your best dad joke?
Let's see. The what do you call the cut of meat that comes from a pig's shin?
No idea.
Baloney.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where is that?
That's the answer I was looking for. Not a laugh, just an okay.
Right. Well, yeah. So, you're a dad?
I am.
Are you a fan of dad jokes because you're a dad?
Of course.
Amazing. Do you tell dad jokes on stream?
Yeah, I have a timer, and so people can use their points to order a dad joke.
Really? On demand?
On demand.
That's amazing. And you don't ask for anything other than just like to hit a command after a certain time, or how is it? Like just the stream points, like the Twitch points, right?
Yeah, just stream points, and it's like every I think 45 minutes you can order one up.
And I just come up with these dad jokes, right? Like
I have a list. I have a source.
Okay, you have a source that you go to every 45 minutes, or that you read.
No, I go in and find the good stuff, and I have a list. A Google Doc of dad jokes, my database, if you will.
Okay. What do you call a bacterial disease caused by two grizzlies?
I don't know.
Tuberculosis.
Excellent.
What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie?
Oh.
Sophisticated.
Oh man.
What does a sprinter eat before a race?
Nothing. They fast.
Well, there we go.
I got that one.
We have our the same list. Is that it?
No, I think I've told that one before.
Amazing. I got a couple of audience questions for you.
Okay.
I'd love to get into it. And the first one is, were there ever times you questioned if you were truly supposed to be creating content in life? After becoming successful, have you ever dealt with the imposter syndrome?
Yes. Firm yes. I still deal with that. As the very beginning of this talked about as if I'm some sort of veteran indie game content or whatever. But yeah, there was a phase that there was a lot of talk about YouTuber burnout and that kind of thing, and that kind of goes along with imposter syndrome, I think, a lot. And something that helped me was I kind of wrote myself my own little SOP, my operating procedure for the channel, and or the sort of like my channel theme was what gave me a purpose, basically, was to go out. That's what I talked about before. So finding a purpose for what I do, rather than just why am I had this question many times. What am I doing this for? Why would anyone watch me when they can watch someone who's far better at this than I am, who's a much bigger channel and has the audience? Why would anybody watch me? What's the point? And then I asked that question many times. And eventually I came up with this sort of purpose of, I find the niche stuff. I find the stuff that's not being noticed, and try to show it off to give the guy that's sitting in his basement for every day after work, trying to create a game, trying to make a living, give him a little help. And that's that. Ever since I've had that as sort of my view, the reason for my channel, that has helped a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's tough to be like, to compare ourselves with others, because obviously I think it's normal to see others, like the grass is always greener, right? For human beings, I mean, typically. And building our audience, it's always the question. I think it's natural to ask ourselves, like, why do they care? And I think it's important to answer that question as well, because as you said, like, finding your purpose helps you build that brand as well. Because if you don't know why they're coming to watch you, how can you build that brand moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So, no, that's great. Now, here's an interesting one. What's your most used emoji?
Emoji?
Yeah. Or your favorite one?
I don't know. I guess the little laughing guy, because that's the one I probably use the most.
With the tears?
The closed eyes laughing guy.
Yeah.
Not the tear guy. That's too much of a laugh.
Okay, no tear. Just
Yeah,
closed
no
eye
tear.
laughing.
Yeah, that one.
Amazing. All right. Well, we're already at our last segment of the show, which is called the Rapid Fire, which is 15 this or that question.
Okay.
Okay. Don't think, just answer. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Yellow or orange?
Yellow.
Dwarf Romantic or Wildermyth?
Oh, man. That's tough. I didn't know I was going to get these kind of challenging questions. Oh, man. Pass.
Dad jokes or dark jokes?
Dad jokes.
Sketch with a paintbrush or paint with a pencil?
Pencil.
Would you rather only wear shorts for a year or only wear a t-shirt?
Shorts.
Eat a fish or let the fish eat you?
I'll eat the fish.
Fart from your mouth or burp from your butt?
Oh, burp.
Dip fries in ice cream or dip fries in acid?
Ice cream, please.
Hardcore heavy metal or classical music?
Classical.
Lady Gaga or Adele?
Lady Gaga.
Would you rather shoot lasers out of your ass or out of your ears?
We'll go ears.
How many fries do you think you could fit in your mouth at once?
20.
Correct. Eat chalk or drink drink marker liquid?
I'll eat some chalk.
Would you rather lose your wallet or all your fingernails in one hand?
Ugh. Oh, yeah, the wallet can go.
Would you rather have bad breath or smelly feet?
Smelly feet.
There we go. I think we know you better now.
Did I win?
A little bit. Yeah, you
right.
won. All right answers.
All of them right? Good job. All right. Yeah. Excellent.
Well, Nook, Michael, it's a real pleasure to have you
Thanks.
participate.
It's fun.
Thank you. And
Thanks
I
for having
invite every single person listening to this podcast to go check you out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nookrium. That's Nookrium. It's Nookrium on Twitter, on YouTube. Go check Nook, aka Michael, aka Nookrium out, guys. Tremendous stuff. New game every day. Big fan of micro city builders.
Right.
Amazing. Thank you, Michael. And guys at home or listening in the car or on your way to work, please, always happy to get your positive feedback, any feedback really, on whatever platform you prefer to use. Let us know which content creator you want us to interview next week. And we're always there every Tuesday with another episode of Streamforge Radio. Guys, take care and thanks for listening. See you next week.